What's cracking, everybody? Rose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle League content. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a Sunshine Cup team that I feel is probably one of the best teams to play in the entire meta, given how it's all shaped out between the Vigoroths and the Noctowls and the Grass Hole and the Fire Hole, and yeah, it's on. Everything's on fire. Just Gligar really surprised me. It looked like a really strong pick right out of the gate, but there was so many people running things that it didn't really have play into that I didn't feel like it worked. But now that the meta's sort of evolved a bit and we see some more grass types even in the back, Gligar's had a lot more play than it did before. So this is a really strong team. Shadow Nidoqueen, by the way, you have to still respect this girl. The queen herself is here, and she is still a force to be reckoned with, especially in a meta where most things that you see are like normal type or is Vigoroth, and it's good. So let's take a look at this team here and how it performs in this cup. Probably one of my strongest teams, and honestly, I know that kind of everything here deserves to be on the thumbnail, to be honest. Like, I put Gligar here, but like the Wild Charge Double was nuts, the Nidoqueen was nuts, the Gligar was nuts, so I just said Gligar's really unique. I could have put Nidoqueen on there. Wild Charge Double also is here in the lead. Now what I do is I play this out with the Noctowls. I let them throw a move first typically. This first game I was just kind of like trying to see if I could get a shield or something, but now that I've played it some more, instead I just keep building up energy, throw my move after they've thrown their Sky Attack so I don't have to shield or do that. And anytime my opponent comes in with Vigoroth now, I immediately swap in the Nidoqueen. Now unfortunately, you end up having to give up a shield to win this matchup. So it's going to depend on if you feel like the Gligar can just do its job in the end game, you know. If your opponent maybe has like a Trevenant in the back, Gligar actually, most people assume that Gliscor, because of Gliscor, they assume that you're weak to things like Noctowl, but that's actually not true. If you have a Purified Gligar, which is what I'm using, I don't use the regular one, although I do certainly think that this team is extremely weak to Galarian Stunfisk, so I definitely don't mind you using something like Dig, or if you want to run Payback on the double, I don't mind it. But I definitely prefer to have the return coverage because it just works well. And I do also notice that the Night Slash is not a ghost type move. Me, in a hurry, trying to finish setting up this video. But that's why I bring in the Nidoqueen to the Vigoroth save swaps, is because I've noticed there's a team where they've got Noctowl in the lead, and then they've got Trevenant and Vigoroth in the back. And every time I've ended up putting Nidoqueen on the Trevenant, it just ends badly for me. So anyway, I fixed the Night Slash. I wonder if there's any other issues. I think I got them all. And my Gligar's not like rank 1 IVs either, It's still pretty okay. Now I could have gone straight for the Wild Charge here to get rid of this Noctowl, but I did want to bait the shield. So what I do here is I decide to bait the shield because they assume I might be going for like a payback combo play or something, and Wild Charge is going to KO the Noctowl. Get out of here, you stupid bird. I've started to grow to not like Noctowl as much just because of the state of the current Great League meta. It's just such an RPS triangle that it's not fun. I was actually able to go this entire season without needing, I keep forgetting to turn the darn music on, without needing to play Open Great League. I did it out of complete copium. One day I just said I'm going to try it and see if I can make it happen, because there are people who play Great League and I would like to have like some team or content out for those people as well. But I hate it, dude. I hate it. It's so bad. And we're probably not going to get any move updates. I've heard from a pretty reliable source that we're not getting any move updates due to Worlds. So have fun for another 3 months. And in light of that, there will probably be some serious discussion of what kind of content I put out next season, if it's going to be the same old. I'm going to wait and see what the season update is going to be before I make that decision, but we'll see. Anyway, really cool thing about Nidoqueen, everybody assumes you run Stone Edge. I'm not running Stone Edge. So the Galarian Stunfisks don't shield right away. The Noctowls do shield. It's actually kind of nice. So if you can counter swap a Vigoroth, you can counter swap your Vigoroth in, or counter swap your Nidoqueen against the Vigoroth. You make it so that you come out of that matchup with a lot of extra energy, and then you're good. You're good because you can threaten a shield and get 2 Poison Fangs off on the Noctowl. I think it might be slightly IV dependent, but for the most part, like, that's usually how it goes for me in these games. So, and then Gliscor here, or Gligar. He's not Gliscor, it's Gligar. I'm going to go for a little extra energy. I'm going to go for the return. I don't want to end up getting a Night Slash that's resisted. I'm not trying. I know. I know they're not going to shield. They're going to save the shield, and they're not going to use it. I'm going to let my my Glider go here because I have a ton of energy on this double. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my shield and go for double wild charge, just to guarantee. I don't want to take the risk of that body slam not doing enough damage, even though I know that it probably would from this range. But I'm just like, you know what? I got double wild charge. I might as well use it. And that's why I like wild charge on the double, is it really provides the extra coverage that Noctowls aren't expecting, because everybody assumes you run payback because you don't want to be weak against the ghosts, right? But, you know, wild charge is just as good. I definitely do say, though, that the one thing that this team struggles the most against, I think, would be the Vigoroth double flyer, and then an opponent who smartly shields Earth Powers, right? Because if your opponent's got a G-Fisk in the back and they don't shield the Earth Power, like at that point, I'm already good, because that's most of my problem is already gone. Double can easily lose this, or Nidoqueen can lose this, Double can come in and farm down. My opponent goes for a Rock Slide, like a... I don't know. I think they were trying to bait shields, get alignment. Maybe that's what they were thinking. But like in this meta, I don't need it. So don't Rock Slide my Nidoqueen, please. I get the thought process there, but that's why resisting, when you throw a resisted bait and it gets called, it just feels so bad. Pro tip of the day: don't throw resisted baits unless you absolutely have to. Like in a matchup like that, there's no reason to throw the Earthquake, because like you can live the Earth Power. And you actually outpace the Nidoqueen if you swap quick enough. So, like at that point, the Nidoqueen has to bait in order to win that matchup. So, Gligar also extremely tanky. That I did not expect it to be so bulky. But it just tanks these moves like it tanks the Vigoroth's body slams like a champ if I needed to. Now I shield here because I want to preserve some HP. And Noctowl is going to come in, and I'm going to try and go for a return here, but instead I go to catch a move. I think I threw one too early, but I wanted to save that energy and let Double come in and do its thing. Double's got some energy a little bit already, so I'm just going to go for body slams here after building up these wild charges. My hope here is that I can get both shields off of this by going for double wild charge, or baiting if I have to. But no, I'm going straight for double wild charge, and I think I live with like a sliver of HP after this. And then I also win CMP against Noctowl as Double, and they go for a charge move here. So I'm also able to take both shields here and force them to throw energy. This is like the most ideal situation that you could possibly have in this particular situation. So yeah, Gligar's going to come in. We're going to get that return off, and we're looking real good right now. Looking super good right now. We can have a shield. I can farm down the Noctowl if I want to, but instead I go for a CMP win on the Noctowl, so I don't have to tank anything or shield anything. And I get a boost against the Vigoroth and just clap it anyway. So, good stuff. Well played. Double is going to come in here against Vigoroth. Now, Vigoroth is like that one lead that I always safe swap into Nidoqueen out of. Just because I want to draw out like their flyer, or I want to draw out, you know, maybe usually what normally happens is I'm trying to like draw out an ice type, or like a Swampert, or just something that does not, or that could beat the Gligar, right? Because like if it's an ice type or a Swampert, like those are risky, and my opponent doesn't shield, but like even if they call that this isn't a Stone Edge, they still end up having to shield the second Poison Fang. So like it works for me either way. And because of the 2 defense drops, I can let this go. And Double could come and farm down. But in this particular situation, I'm going to go for Switch. Because I think I can. And I do. I farm down before they can get to another Sky Attack. And their Vigoroth comes in, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to go for Hail Mary Earth Power. I probably, in hindsight, I should have just gone for Poison Fangs. Because they do shield it. But that's fine with me, because they still have to throw energy before I get to another Poison Fang here. So that's fine. I get to keep going in that regards. And shields are completely down, and there's not really a whole lot in this meta that can really beat a Double before I can get to, you know, enough moves to take it out. Like there's no flyers in this meta that can take out my Double from that range. So I'm gonna go for Night Slash here. Honestly, I probably should have not thrown right there, but honestly it's fine. Because I'm forcing this Vigoroth to take some damage. I'm just hoping that in the back they have some like flyer or something. Usually that's what ends up happening. And they have the wrong flyer. That's a Tropius. That is... That's not what I was thinking. It was like a Pidgeot or something. And I'm like, okay. I saw the grass typing, and I was like, maybe Jumpluff. No, this is not pretty. I have to go for body slams here. I can't go for wild charges because I don't want to lose my HP. But the thing is they've already got such a big energy lead. But Double is surprisingly attack weighted. Like, for what it is, you wouldn't think that it has as much attack weight as it does. But, like, it wins CMP against a lot of things. That's really cool. The Leaf Blades are going to come in, but they're not going to do enough damage. And my opponent does need another 3 or 4 moves to get there. I got Wild Charge, why not throw it? So here goes Wild Charge to take out the Viggies. And Viggy goes down, and that's a good game. Very well played to my opponent. How many more we got? Yeah, we got a few more. It's like halfway through the video right now. So once again, Vigoroth lead, Swift Swap, and a Nidoqueen. My opponent comes in with Noctowl. This happens so often, it's actually painful. So I build up to the Earth Power because I want to fake a Stone Edge to my opponent. You'd be surprised how many times that gets a shield. I know in these games it may not have gotten a shield as much, but like in most of the games that I played with this team, I got a shield somewhere because of that threat. Or the opponent didn't shield because they assumed that I had it. Now, going for Poison Fangs here is ideal, and my opponent doesn't shield here at all. I can actually live this, I think, so I do let it go. I'm going to get alignment out of this. I know I'm down a shield, but like having Gligar on the Vigoroth is a really good thing to be able to have because you're not taking super effective damage. Like, I know that in a fight, like in a straight fight, my double could probably almost beat or could beat a Vigoroth, but it's very, very risky. And at that point, like if I were to stay in this matchup, I don't have anything to really hit like a Noctowl with. Like, I'm just having a problem. So I'm gonna go for the return here. I'm just gonna go for it because I think that they maybe think that I'm not gonna go for it. Maybe they think I'm just gonna go for an Ice Slash here. So we are able to take them out, and they have a Nidoking in the back. Super spicy, dude. I have so much respect for this person. Shadow Nidoking is so. It looks so fun. But the amount of farm that this thing is getting on me is actually disgusting. I think I was doing something with my kids at the time I was playing this battle. That's why I was just tapping. I wasn't paying attention. I think I was trying to go get one of my kids from a nap. And here I have to call that they're not going to hit me with a giant move, right? So they're going to go for Sand Tomb, and I'm like, all right, this thing has Sand Tomb, probably Mega Horn or something maybe. They go for another Sand Tomb, which is huge. All I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna fast move down. I don't need to throw my charge moves. I just need to shield and make sure I sneak through that final double kick. This is a situation. A lot of people that I coach. Actually, speaking of coaching, you can find me for coaching on Metafy. Link in the description. Metafy.gg/@ZerFelrose. It's one of those things that my students often end up having come up is like, you know, they just throw energy, but you got to understand that if your fast moves are the damage that's going to finish the game, you know, having 4 charge moves, well, I know 4, having less than, if you don't have enough charge moves built up to go through all the shields plus take out your opponent, like there's no reason to throw them because you're giving your opponent a free fast move typically when you throw if you're at the same speed. So it's a very good thing to be able to discern. So there's a shield we got from the Poison Fang bait. It's a good thing to be able to discern as a player when those fast moves are going to be more impactful than the charge moves themselves. I'm hoping to get another shield from this Noctowl because we built up and we're going for CMP. And they don't shield because they're absolute chads. They called it. They're like, nah, this guy's not running Poison Fang. He's an idiot. So, and if you want direct line to this idiot, I have a Patreon Discord where all of my all of my friends, well, they're all friends of mine because, you know, we're actually a really tight group of people in that group. But that's where I put all of my teams, my meta-analysis, my strategies, everything is going to be in that Discord before it hits YouTube. So if you're interested in being in that group just because it's a really great community, or if you'd like to get early access to that stuff, there's a link in the description for Patreon over at patreon.com/ZerFelrose, and you can join me and all of these wonderful people in that Discord, and it's a great time. And at some point, I'm going to be able to do so much more with it. So I'm hoping to increase the value of it just because it's just a great place, man. It's a great people, great place. And they've been running this team today. I've had a couple people say they gained like, you know, 300 elo with this team, and I'm like, dude, that's awesome, because I only did like 3 sets with this team. But it did really good in those 3 sets, so I mean that's still pretty incredible to know that they did so well with it. Now I don't win CMP against Vigoroth with double, but I have enough HP to live a body slam, so that's going to be good enough for me. I'm going to get the body slam off, take out the Vigoroth. Now, get some water. Hydrate, folks. Stay hydrated. That's going to be a good one. So this is a good lead here. Now, here's the thing. I played these games before. I looked at YouTube, and I didn't realize that Yonkis put up another one of his signature toxic teams. Here's a team you can play and go battle day to get all your sets done real fast. And it was like Mad Cargo, Grass, and I think it was a Golem or something. And I did not look at YouTube before this. So my opponent is running Rock Throw, Mad Cargo, and I'm like, all right, this is probably one of those teams. It could be Grasshole. I'm expecting it to be Grasshole, and that's why I'm playing it the way I am, because I expect my Gligar to have good play in the back. Now, I make a dumb decision here to throw this Wild Charge. What I should have done is I should have built up to Payback, and then I should have thrown the Body Slam, maybe to bait. Because my opponent now is going to come in, and not going to come in because I'm assuming they have a Grass in the back, Trevenant or something in the back. And this is the other half of that like RPS triangle that I was kind of talking about in yesterday's video, where it's like if you play the normal types, you're in a pretty it's Decidueye, that's right. Yeah, this team, yeah. This isn't Yonkis' team, I don't think. This is another one of those like toxic fast move teams, but I don't think that was his. So no disrespect to Yonkis, by the way. He's got COVID also, and I hope he feels better soon. Dude's probably not having a good time right now. I don't hate the players. I just hate the game. I hate the fact that these teams exist, and I also hate the fact that the content creators feel like they have to feature teams like that to get clicks. It really feels bad because I feel like these teams really ruin things for a lot of people. But they exist. They're here. So, sort of like what we did yesterday with Draft Rig with Swampert, because you can outpace to the first move, like to go for the Body Slam right away. Now, you have to stay in this matchup, though. You kind of can't swap out, because Gligar does not take Hydro Cannons very well, and Nidoqueen gets destroyed and shredded and obliterated by a Swampert. So, I'm going to stay in with double here. I'm just going to stay in here, and I'm just going to do what I can with whatever I have afterwards. I know that I can tank one move here, so I will let this next one go. I'm kind of like expecting my opponent to try and like dip on me here, but I go for a Body Slam here to try and win switch or make them go down their other shield, which they decide to let it go. And here I'm going to go straight into my Nidoqueen, because I feel like at this point, they could come in with a Vigoroth or something, and I just don't want to get my double farm down. So I'm going to fake the Stone Edge once again and go for the Poison Fang. And honestly, the amount of people that don't shield make me wish I was running Stone Edge. But I feel like Earth Power is still good enough to have in the meta. Plus, I mean, honestly, Nidoqueen's here for Poison Fang, Poison Jab, grinding. Like, that's what she does best. Now, this person's got a Talonflame, and all of a sudden, this gets really difficult. So I have to manage myself well here. My opponent is farming, and I'm going to try and throw with as good timing as possible. I'm pretty sure that was, I think, 3 Incinerates here. My opponent, what they do here is they go to max energy. No, that was 4. I remember now, this was the 5th Incinerate. So they're not going to throw another move, so I expect them to throw immediately, and that's what they do. There's no reason to throw another Incinerate, so they may as well throw directly after that move. And they go for a Brave Bird. And I catch the Brave Bird. Now, that is not what I would be doing if I were my opponent. I think that they were expecting me to no-shield the Gligar when they threw that, because they would have, I mean, they made a smart move. Like, they would have expected me to call a Flame Charge bait, and had they gone for the Brave Bird, and beat my Gligar and taken it out, they would have won that game. But going up to 5 Incinerates was easy. It was an easy decision for me to switch there. So another Noctowl lead. Think I played this one out the smart way. See what I do here. I think I'm pretty sure this is the one where I start to figure out. Yeah, let's throw after we get destroyed, after they get the move off. Yeah. So I have to be careful though when I do that. And it's gonna it takes some precision, and your reactions and whatnot. But when you are in that matchup and your opponent has the faster fast move, right? Their 2-turn versus your 3-turn, they could go 1 and dip, and you would already have your finger on the Wild Charge ready to go, and then you throw it into like a Stunfisk or something. Feels bad. I've done it though. So if you can, try and practice such that you wait that that split second, that half-second turn, in order to try and nail that timing down so that you can catch your opponent in the middle of their animation, so that you don't get caught with your pants down, versus that with your moves. So it might help when you do that, so that your moves don't get caught, and then at least you know that if you see them in the middle of that animation, you're pretty good that in such that you're not going to get your move caught and you know it's going to go through. So I'm going to go for a Poison Fang here. Look, like we already got this thing low enough. My opponent comes in with Blaziken. I couldn't be happier because I've got Gligar in the pack. It's good. The only thing I have to be careful of is that the Gligar might get slapped with a Brave Bird or something. That would be bad. But my opponent, now this is another thing, this is another skill that you kind of develop over time, is kind of noticing the notches that come off the HP bar and figuring out if you can farm down instead of having to throw energy. I know that it's 6 to the Blaze Kick, and in the time that it took for me to get to that first charge move of theirs, I realized that I could farm down the rest of the way. So that's a good game to my opponent. But that's one of those things that's going to be really helpful to know if you can farm down or not, is noticing the HP. So this is where I want to see Abomasnow. And they immediately go into Vigoroth. I'm going to counter with my Nidoqueen. Everything here has a good amount of play against it. Now, I didn't come in with my Gligar here because I'm kind of hoping that it has some play in the endgame. And Nidoqueen comes out of this matchup with energy, and the opponent instantly switched out, which means that I will be able to hit this Abomasnow with at least a Poison Fang or two. Depending on how this matchup goes. My opponent goes for the Body Slam, I let it go. Now I know I'm only going to get one Poison Fang off, potentially, against this thing, so I'm going to make it count and get a shield out of him while I'm at it. I'm at the Stone Edge, technically, I think. I think it's the same energy as Earth Power. But we go for the move, they get the shield off, and then I'm going to go for as many Poison Jabs as I can, take a ton of HP out of this thing. My opponent comes in with a Noctowl, and suddenly we're not looking so hot. But if I go for double Wild Charge here, I'm good. I'm going to let this go, and I'm going to put all of my faith into the Gligar, despite it taking double super effective damage from the ice damage, or the ice moves. If my opponent shields this, I'll go for the other one. If my opponent no shields this, I'm going immediately into Gligar, and they don't shield it. So now I have energy, and I have some HP left on my double that I can use to finish off the Abomasnow, and I'm going to just farm down here. My opponent is going to have to put up their final shield, or they're going to have to eat this return. And whether they shield or not, there's no consequence to me because my double will be able to finish this game. But they decide not to shield, and that's going to take out the Abomasnow and end the game. Well played to my opponents. This is my best team for the Sunshine Cup. I think that there are a couple of substitutions that you could make, but they're not as optimal. So you could put Vigoroth over the double. You just don't have the Wild Charge, but you have better Vigoroth. You have a better G-Fisk answer, like things like that. Gligar, you could put Gliscor, you could put Noctowl. I feel like Gligar's typing is not as beneficial, but its moveset is what really helps it, plus the bulk. So I feel like Noctowl is probably the better slot in over it. And Nidoqueen, I think, is really solid in this meta. I wouldn't sub out my Nidoqueen for anything here. Maybe if you want to be spicy, you could try Shadow Nidoking. But Nidoqueen being what she is, I feel like she's a staple safe swap in this team. So that's what I wouldn't substitute out the Nidoqueen. But you could certainly run like Dig on the Gligar if you want, if you need to have a better answer for the Stunfisk, or like I said, you could run Vigoroth if you want a more consistent answer for the Stunfisk. All those will work. And that's going to be it for this video, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. We'll catch you tomorrow in the last video for this rotation. Thank you. Have a great one. Bye-bye.